I'm here with Austin-based author and speaker Tom Singer and Paul Grabowski, the Chief Marketing Officer at Bracewell and Giuliani, and they co-authored a new book, The ABCs of Legal Marketing, and they are here to tell us about it. So tell us a little bit about the book. What are some of the highlights from the tips that you provide for lawyers?
There's a couple of things that I think lawyers, they think are easy, but they're not doing, and one is managing their contact list. You know, it sounds like, well, duh, that's so simple. Of course they manage their contact list. But when I sit down and ask an attorney, who are the top 25 people on your list that you're trying to cultivate the relationship and move them forward so that you can develop more business, they look at me like a deer in the headlights. So some of the stuff that's in the book, you know, people will say, well, Tom, this isn't rocket science. This is basic stuff. But if it's never been taught to them before, it can have a life-changing effect on the way they grow their practice.
It's not something that is taught in law school. You good practitioners were taught to be able to come out and work in any area, and we're taught to take the bar exam. And then when we come out, that's when we start working in a practice area or setting out our own shingle. But the problem is, or the issue is that lawyers need to understand, just like anyone who goes and gets an MBA, that you have to be able to generate business. And knowing these things, in addition to what you learn in law school, would really have, I think, changed my career path and a lot of others if they'd had some basic foundations in networking, in how to develop a business plan, in understanding what your brand is.
And what are some of the most common mistakes you see lawyers making in terms of marketing?
Well, I think, you know, quite honestly, the industry has changed so much over the past few years and the past decade. You know, the biggest mistake is thinking that, well, I went to a fantastic law school, I graduated in the top 10% of my class, I was on law review, then all of a sudden the phone's going to ring and you're going to have business coming in the door. It is a business, and in order to be a business, you have to get out there and market yourself. You have to understand your target audiences. You have to understand the analytics of how it goes into run a business. And a lot of times lawyers don't think that way first because they think I have to be a great lawyer in order to work within this firm or just to be able to represent my clients.
And the book discusses ways that lawyers can network within their communities and develop contacts that ultimately expand their businesses. So what are some simple ways that lawyers can reach out and earn the trust of people whom they hope to work with?
Well, I think one of the things they have to remember is they can't just join and write a check to every organization in town, because you don't get networking points or build your reputation by sending in checks and having your name listed in the membership directory. In order to build relationships, it takes time. I tell people it takes 10 or more times of encountering somebody, not before you have a great friendship, but before they even notice that you exist. And most of these groups that you can get involved with meet once a month. So it can take you a whole year just to get to the base level where people even notice you. So don't sign up and join everything. Pick one or two organizations that interest you and that you're going to actively participate in. And if you're with a larger firm, divide those up so that every attorney has one or two groups. If you have 20 people in your practice area and everybody goes to one organization every single month, you're going to have huge coverage in your community.
And Paul, you're experienced in the legal marketing field. So are most lawyers aware of the importance of marketing and branding themselves in their communities, do you think?
Not as much as they should be. It's been my experience that we work with highly educated people who just sometimes don't understand necessarily the business component to it and what it takes to be known. Being a lawyer means that you're selling yourself as the product. And one of the best ways and easiest ways to brand yourself is to actually get out into the marketplace so that you are a known quantity. But it doesn't always come easy for lawyers. You know, when we look at it, when we start off, you can put lawyers into what we call a 20-60-20 approach. That means that 20% of them are fantastic rainmakers. They know how to do this. They're out there generating business. The 60% are the ones who give me job security, which is a nice thing. But they need some help along the way. They don't necessarily understand all the components of business development, marketing, branding. And then 20% are fantastic lawyers, but business development does not come easy to them. And so we have to work a little bit harder with those within the firm in order so that they all can work together.
So where can we find this book?
So the book will be available on Amazon.com. It'll also be available through my website at tomsinger.com. And Paul and I both like to speak and consult with attorneys and with legal groups, and it'll be available anywhere where you see us speak.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Tom and Paul, for joining us. Be sure to check out the ABCs of Legal Marketing. Thanks, everyone.